This is going to be Vortex Pinnacle on a Mistweaver monk. So another pretty cool cataclysm dungeon. Doesn't do as much to stand out as Blackrock Caverns does, but I still have a lot of fun with it. Right, quest off to the left here. I'm wearing some kind of like skirt or something. Whoa, combat log, that's not what I want. Okay, so we got a paladin. So this dungeon takes place way up high in the air. That's a brewmaster disguised as a human. Oh boy, people using the transmorpher beacon. They're gonna be very talky then. Dude, is this necessary? Transmorpher beacon be a lot cooler if it didn't make you spout off voiced quotes from the characters you're transformed into so much. Whoa, that was a hit for half your health. Okay, right, yeah, so I'm healing a brewmaster here. Be ready to pump some big heals into them, I guess. Thrall, two people probably together. And two other servers. What are the others? Retribution Paladin, Shadow Priest, and what would that be? Destruction Warlock. Big green firebolt coming out. It is a warlock, but what kind? Yeah, incinerate, that's gotta be destruction. Okay. Alright, so I see the blue exclamation point. I guess that's another archaeology keystone thingy. Drinking some brews. That's fine. Okay. So I don't know what the actual race of this monk is, but that's fine, doesn't matter. I just like to know, you know? Lurking Tempest. Okay, so that's a weird thing. If no one is facing toward it, it will come out of hiding and start shooting lightning bolts at people. You can't really kill it. It has too much health and a lot of passive health regeneration. Or something like that. I'm watching for big hits. There they were. Yeah, so something on this ramp causes like a whole lot of damage to people when it dies. I'm not sure what that is. I should learn what it is and prepare for it better. But I'd sort of expect right in this spot is going to be that Voidwalker is still fighting the Lurking Tempest. Oh man. On your guard. Isn't that Armsmaster Harlan? Maybe that's who you're described as. I think that's where I heard that voice line before. Wild Vortex. Okay, and Gust Soldier. Maybe it's the Gust Soldier's death effect that causes... Where'd that Gust Soldier come from? It was from behind somewhere. How did that happen? Okay, Gust Soldier dies, and yeah, big burst of wind. So it's very possible to die there if like 3 of those explode all at once. So, okay. Gust Soldiers burst when killed, so be aware. Don't kill them at the same time. Spread out your kills. Alright, I think that's the lesson here. And healer, be prepared to heal a third of everybody's health who is in range when they die. Alright, reasonable enough. Another Lurking Tempest. Can actually see it there. Is it doing stuff? I think it's out of range. But yeah, so it totally does pay attention to the way people are facing, and if no one is looking at it, it'll shoot lightning at your back. Alright, so banishment, interrupts, annoying stuff here. Things do wind shear, of course. That makes a lot of sense. We're high up in the air, everything is an air elemental up here. And yet somehow there's ground to stand on. I don't actually know off the top of my head where this place is physically located. How would you walk to this dungeon? I think I may have only ever been here through the Dungeon Finder. And you don't have to know where the dungeon entrance is to use that. Now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go track this place down, because I have no idea how I would get to this in the world if I wanted to just walk into the entrance. That voice I don't know. Cloud Prince. Kind of little mini-boss, almost. Has a bunch of health. Doesn't do anything all that interesting that I remember, though. Yeah, I'm using some mana. I am healing a Brewmaster, after all. Taking those little nips of tea when I can. Lurking Tempest right in the middle of this room, so I guess if everybody walked to the far side of that and then faced forwards, then you'd get the lightning in the back, maybe? I don't know, Lurking Tempests just kind of sit there and are something you can accidentally target, and it's really annoying. That's what I know them for. But apparently there is a way to make them a threat if you all face away or something. I don't know. I mostly just don't notice them other than when I click on them and say, oh, I don't want to target this because I can't really attack it. Man, this looks fun. I always like runs like this where I have to like actually, you know, do stuff. Please do make me work as a healer. Not like ridiculously hard, but, you know. This is the way I like it. So this is Grand Vizier Ertan or whatever. She's real annoying. So she has a Cyclone Shield here. Don't stand in the cyclones, of course. And I think actually if you're outside that ring of... Yeah, Warlock's getting it. Please get in here. I don't have a leap of faith, so I can't bring you in myself, but you're just going to be absorbing a lot of heals from me. Her Cyclone Shield retracts, and everybody gets the passive lightning from being outside the ring. I think healer just has to heal through it? I don't know a way to avoid this damage. All the times I've run this place, I've looked for a way to avoid it, and I haven't found it. By being in the Cyclone, I think I got a debuff that made my cast speed a lot slower, so that's what that does. Also made my move speed a lot slower. Yeah, this Warlock is backpedaling back out into the danger again. Okay, she just had no idea what to do. I see. Well, that's unfortunate. Alright, well, she was the only one who died, so maybe she'll somehow learn from that. Hey, nobody else died. Maybe there's something else I could have done. I've used a lot of mana here. Anyway, yeah, so stay inside when shield is out. Stay outside when shield is in. Help! You can't be resurrected in combat. You have to wait for it to end for the resurrection spell to work. Aww. Wait, why did that get interrupted? Oh, wait. Oh, somebody else... Okay, somebody else got it. Must have been the paladin. Right, so after this you gotta jump into a slipstream. Don't just jump, you have to actually click. If you jump, you'll fall and die. I've seen people do it. I guess we could have helped her by telling her you need to be inside the Cyclone Shield, but I don't know. It's kind of assumed that you know that if you come into this dungeon, which is a bad assumption. But also, very little communication happens in random groups like this. If you don't do a mechanic, if you don't know to do it, then, you know, you just kind of have to learn by dying. Read the adventure guide if you don't want that to happen. Otherwise, just be okay with learning by dying. It's fine. It's a valid way to do it. Still running with roll. When is it that I change that? Not yet. Actually, I think I know when. It'll be right around level 90, 91, 92, somewhere around there. Empyrean Assassin, those have poison effects. Not really a lot to think about other than just that they are a thing to dispel. Now the young Storm Dragon, on the other hand, does have something important to know. I don't have to deal with this as a healer, but... So, he creates a little healing well there, and if the dragon's inside the healing well, it's pretty hard to kill because he just keeps on healing from it. So the tank has to go out of their way to pull the dragon out of the well, which is a little hard to do because he likes to stand still and just breathe. But the dragon has to come out of the well so that your damage can actually not just be erased. Not sure if players can stand in that thing and benefit from it, but it's not really... Whoa, I'd say it's not necessary, but wow. This is actually some heavy damage going on here. So yeah, I think the optimal way to do that would be to pull the dragon to the edge of the healing well and have everybody stand in it. Then again, dragons tend to have breath attacks. That one definitely did, and breath tends to hit everything in front of the dragon. So maybe everybody standing in one place would not be ideal there. These are weird. Howling Gale. I think you gotta attack them a little bit to get them to stop their wind effect so you can run through. You can't kill them, you just get them to stop for a moment. Because I saw the Brewmaster running up and getting pushed back. And Empyrean Assassins came from behind somehow, somewhere. Guess they were stealthed and somebody stepped close enough to get one or something. There we go. Dispel that poison. Alright, so young Storm Dragon with also a bunch of assassins around. Combination of everything. What is this monk doing? She's moving forward and back continually. That's not going to improve your damage. That's just going to annoy everybody. A lot of players do this, I see. They'll just like hit their left and right keys. Just go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Whenever they're in a place where it would make sense to stand still. They just don't want to stand still. Just hammer on the keyboard. Fidget with your character's position. That gets real annoying when I'm like channeling a spell on somebody that automatically faces my character toward them. Makes my camera shake back and forth as they fidget around. Fortunately, there aren't too many of those spells, but there are some. You can't go backward and forward as fast as side to side because moving backward is always slow. I thought that was silly. There's this whole thing in, a whole thing that, I remember back when I played this game years ago, running into a lot of players who thought it was a great idea to unbind your move backward key just because it's so slow to do it, to make sure you don't accidentally walk backward at walking speed when you need to move out of something. The ideal way to do that is to use your mouse, turn your view 90 degrees, and run to the side, and then turn it back. It takes some doing to do it, but you know, it'll move you out of whatever danger you need to move out of at twice the speed, so it's obviously the way to do it. Or just move to the side or something. But yeah, so the suggestion was to unbind the back key just so you cannot actually move backward. I think that's ridiculous. Hey, that's Ring of Peace. Didn't really get to see it do much. There's going to be a run coming up soonish where I'm shown a little bit more clearly. Hey, here's how you use Ring of Peace. And then I learned to use mine. Still don't find a lot of situations where it makes sense, but it's a very cool ability. Anyway, yeah, so, walking backward, I always thought a much more reasonable way to do that would be for the back key to just have your character turn around and run at full speed toward wherever the camera is facing. Like, why not just do that? Why have this whole, like, walking slowly backward thing? I don't think that makes any sense, but that's the way the game works. Always has, probably always will. But yeah, the whole thing about swinging your mouse around is, you know, like aiming for exactly a 90-degree turn once and then run out and then aim again. You know, you don't see what you're looking at. You see 90 degrees to the left or right. It's complicated. Oh, Alteris. This is a fun little fight. If you do the one mechanic, you don't have to worry about pretty much anything. So Alteris makes wind happen. If you're upwind of Alteris, you get a ridiculous speed buff. It's like having eaten a bunch of the good food on Captain Cookie. All your actions just go off really, really, really fast. If you're downwind, then the opposite happens. So whenever the wind shifts, just move upwind and press your buttons really fast and have lots of fun. Long as you're upwind, nothing could be a problem. Oh, Warlock standing downwind and moving further downwind and accidentally casting fear. Oh no. This poor Warlock just doesn't know what to do. And no one's helping her. Oh well. She'll just have to learn on her own. That is a female undead, right? I can't tell in that profile without face exposed. Might be a male one. They look about the same. Oh yeah, load screen happens between these jumps. It's kind of weird, but yeah, you get a loading screen there for just a brief moment. I think it's just because like your character's teleporting a little too far for the game to handle. Not that it like actually has to load anything in here. I might be wrong about that. I don't know. Normally there are not loading screens mid-dungeon. Like, that never happens. That's why I assume that's just the game saying, whoa, your character location is suddenly, you know, 60 yards away instead of the maximum of 50 yards that we know how to just transition the camera to. So we're going to show you a load screen for a second. Could be wrong. I don't know. It's not like there's anything up here that seems like it's going to... There's another Ring of Peace. Nice. So Temple Adept there was casting Greater Heal. Ring of Peace can move something around and do a soft interrupt, kind of just like Death Grip can, just by causing a thing to be repositioned. So no spell casting can happen if enemy or character is forced to be repositioned, and Ring of Peace is one of the ways to do that. That's a thing that it's good at. But also Brewmasters have hard interrupts, you know. That's why the Adept was paralyzed. Paralysis on one of the Adepts, focus on killing the other one. Yeah, so this was a Cataclysm dungeon. I'll talk about that lightning field in a moment. This was a Cataclysm dungeon, typically expected that you would use some crowd control and prioritize your targets carefully. I should use my own paralysis in that Temple Adept. Guess I wasn't watching close enough to see what was happening. Leg sweep went off. Greater Heal got interrupted. Great. So yeah, that Greater Heal lands for an amount that matters. So if both Adepts are casting Greater Heal successfully, this pack's going to take a while to kill and might never die if your damage is low enough. Anyway, so that tetrahedron I was standing in, made of lightning, redirects or causes not to land like any spell that targets a anyone who's standing in it. I don't know if that includes healing spells. I don't think it does. I think it's just offensive ones. So, you know, stand there and any magic damage won't happen to you. It'll be important later. Skyfall stars here don't care about threat table. They'll just launch arcane bolts at everybody, do a whole bunch of damage to everyone who's here. You just gotta kill them quick so they stop doing that. Also gonna be semi-important later. Less so, though. I don't know what that thing going on in the middle is. It goes away when all the Skyfall stars are defeated, but it doesn't seem to have an effect on its own. It's just like the marker for, hey, there are still Skyfall stars alive. I don't know. Alright, right Temple Adept paralyzed. Left one gets focused. I'm just sitting here having a drink. I don't need to do anything yet. And somehow I got threat from that. Huh. Wait, what's going on here? So chain stuns. That was unpleasant. when I wasn't taking any healing actions, and presumably the Brewmaster was taking threat-generating actions. Oh, there was a line of sight pull being attempted there. I probably had a Renewing Mist on someone, and that generated just enough threat for them to all glom onto me. Got it. Okay. I was thinking about other things and not noticing what was being attempted there. Because I don't usually see people try to pull out of line of sight up the stairway there. That makes sense, though. Like, there's a bunch of dudes there you don't want to get involved in this, and they would be awfully close. Okay, well, I should keep that in mind as a possibility of what people might want to do in that spot, and prepare accordingly. So these are all sitting inside the lightning field. That wasn't my paralysis, that was the Brewmaster's. She knows what she's doing. I'm just letting her do her thing. I have my own if I need to use it, but I don't. That's one perk of playing a monk. Paralysis works on everyone. Everyone who's not immune to stuns. A lot of the analogs that other classes get only work on certain creature types. Like Druid gets a Hibernate that works on Dragonkin and Beasts. Paladin gets Repentance, which actually has a cast time, and also is a talent you have to take, but I think it only works on humanoids and a couple of other things, but not everything. But Paralysis just works on whoever you want to put it on. Just, if it's a target that can be stunned, you can paralyze it. Okay, that's a Tauren. A male Tauren. Alright. His female human transformation wore off. I think we're approaching the end here. This is a pretty cool dungeon. I like this one. Some people don't. I do. More Skyfall stars. Just a bunch of damage on everybody. Not much to do about it other than just kill them quick. As far as I know. Okay, so this is, what's this dude's name? Assad. Alright, so Assad does a thing here. So remember that whole grounding field thing. Be inside the tetrahedron so that you can't be targeted by spells. Also, Skyfall stars spawn during this fight. Good idea to keep them killed so they're not stacking up damage on the party. That's just sort of a damage dealer job, since they don't really care about threat table. I was paying attention to this ability, but I had mixed it up with another thing I read about in the adventure guides. For some reason I thought... no surprise the Warlock also made the same mistake. I remembered this, and I read about it. Oh hey, cool, she soulstoned me. Thanks. That's helpful. I read about this and I remembered it, but I mixed up names of abilities and I thought he was doing something else. Anyway, so he yells out, Alakir, your servant calls for aid, conjures a temporary grounding field, and you want to be in it, because the next thing he does will kill you if you're outside. That's really all there is to it. Just be inside the tetrahedron, and there's nothing to worry about. He is the top vertex of it. And yeah, conveniently he teleports to the top of it, and is still in melee range, so you don't have to stop damaging him there. Just be in the triangle, and you're safe. Be outside the triangle, and you're dead. How did the Warlock manage to use a soulstone to resurrect me after having done it to herself? I thought Soulstone's cast cooldown was the same as its duration, because the only way I can think of that happening is if she had already put the Soulstone effect on herself, used it after dying, and then the spell was off cooldown so she could use it again on me? Because there's two different ways to use a soul stone. You only unlock the battle resurrection at level 70, I think. But if you put it on a character first, then they can just choose to resurrect instead of releasing spirits. But then if you cast it on a dead party member, it's an instant resurrect once you're past level 70 and gain that ability. Huh. Okay, maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Anyway, that was Vortex Pinnacle. Cool dungeon. See you next time.